And hello everyone, and welcome back to week 74 of our Minecraft Let's Play series. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing very well this week. And without further ado, I'm going to hop straight into what we've got written down for this week. Now, of course, as per usual, we've got the villager hall with more masons. I'm still going to be trying to get the andesite trades as well as the terracottas that we still need. And then the second one for the Jellie statue, there's nothing really too new about that. It's just the pathing that I was talking about that I want to work upon a little bit more because I went ahead and grabbed more blackstone between weeks. And then we have some base improvements. I have buildings here, but I also think I might go ahead and work on the tunnel, like shortening it. So let me write that down here really quick. Perfect. Piglin bartering system. I definitely want to work on the storage, which I went ahead and tried to plan a self-sorting storage system, but I think it might just be easier just to have it be a bulk storage for the piglin bartering. Then we also have item transport on here. We might get to that depending on if I can figure out a good way of doing that. Then we also have a new item, the Nether tunnel. I talked about doing this like way back, I think even in year one, and still have not done a single thing on that. There's a lot of things I talked about wanting to do in year two, back in year one, and I haven't started on them, so it's probably a good idea to get going on those because, well, time's going fast. And then obviously we have the question mark here if I decide that I want to do something else. So as you all could probably guess, we're going to be starting off this week with more villager trades, meaning that we need to go ahead and head over to the Nether. And I believe over here this time we have 8 villagers. We might have 9 again. I think it's only 8 though. Yeah, it is just 8. Go ahead and start sending them over, then send them through the portal. Repeat for all 8 villagers as per usual. And now that we've gone ahead and moved them all into here, we'll go ahead and move them into the new homes. And now that we have all of them moved into their respective locations, we'll go ahead and trade the brick trades with them. And now all the stone trades we gotta do with these guys. And now for the trades that mean the most, the granite, diorite, and andesite trades. Alright, let's start from over here. You have granite and polished diorite. Alright, you have diorite and dripstone. You have andesite and polished diorite. You have polished andesite and dripstone. Alright, you probably get to stay as long as you have good trade. Granite and dripstone, polished andesite, diorite. That's actually quite a nice one. Polished andesite and granite, polished granite and granite. Alright, let me just trade with all these guys first and then we'll see what their terracotta trades are. Because I also for some reason constantly forget that these guys can have the nether quartz trades. Let's see what this guy has. Cyan and blue glazed terracotta. We already have cyan somewhere. Or sorry, no, we have blue glazed terracotta from this guy, and he takes diorite and andesite. Well, this guy has a granite trade, so this already means that he is gone. This guy has cyan and blue. He has a dripstone trade. He's gone. This guy has orange glazed and lime terracotta. We have lime somewhere, but you are an andesite as well as a polished diorite trade. And this guy is a polished granite trade. Alright, so we'll come back to you in a second. You were granite and polished granite, and you're also light blue and orange terracotta. Alright, where is my other orange terracotta guy? Oh, hi. You have polished diorite and dripstone. I can't have another granite trade this early on, I'm sorry, sir. You have polished andesite. You also have light blue glazed terracotta as well as magenta, which are neither of the colors I need. But if I look at the other ones that have that, wherever they may be, light blue is a polished granite trade. Great. It's an issue of do I really feel like taking this trade though? Yeah, it's gonna just give me more of a granite trade as well as remove a polished trade. So, goodbye, sir. Alright, another polished andesite trade with pink and gray glazed terracotta. We already have gray. Where is that guy? So we replace an andesite trade for a polished andesite trade, which honestly is probably not a bad idea. But we do lose the blue glazed terracotta in the process. Yeah, I guess we could make that sacrifice. Sorry, sir. So I guess you get to say. Can you tell I'm desperate to get like actual polished andesite trades from these guys? You have granite and dripstone. I'm sorry, you are immediately not wanted. You have gray and pink terracotta for a polished andesite trade. All right, who has the gray terracotta then? I don't want to add another of a dripstone block to get rid of a polished granite, which is exactly what I'd be doing. Alright, goodbye, sir. And then you had polished diorite and andesite for me getting rid of a polished granite, which, no, that's actually worse. Wow, so we only get to keep one villager this time. And even then, I had to completely swap it out for a different one. So there's not even an increase in the villagers here. These guys are easy to trade with, so we can keep going for as long as I have all the stone types, but can't tell, it's kind of hard to keep them. And there's also one other thing I'd like to do around here, so give me just a moment. There we go, that's a lot better now. So instead of me having to constantly like go into these guys' inventories to check what terracottas they have, I can just, look. Who knows, I might even go ahead and insert what stone types they have too. Like if they have andesite and polished granite or stuff like that. We'll see about that. I think that would kind of like fill in too much of this whole sign, but if it becomes necessary, I'll do that. But yeah, that is everything I wanted to do at the villager hall today, so let's go ahead and head back to our base and we'll get started on, well, something that's probably gonna have to do with a bunch of building, so I'll meet you guys over there. Well, I say that we're going to be doing a lot of building, but in reality, I don't think it's honestly going to take that long because what I'm going to be doing today is just going ahead and finishing up what I wanted to do at the Jellie statue, but I couldn't due to the fact that I was running out of materials. And that is, I wanted to get some diagonal lines, I believe, onto the platform that we had. So yeah, that's the plan, and I'll meet you guys over there. So yeah, and between the 2 weeks that we've been working on this, I actually did go ahead and finish filling in the gap over here, like the gaps in the holes. So we now have a full platform. I still need to go ahead and work on this though, due to the fact that we have a bunch of stone around here and I want it to be all grass. So yeah, that's gonna have to be changed a bit, but for right now, what I want to do is I want to take this and take the path and push it all the way forward. This is kind of going to be hard due to the fact that this is going to be on a diagonal, so there's no good way of doing 4 blocks, I feel, but we'll make it work. The only issue is first I need to figure out what is the center, which would be this block, meaning that it'd be here. So I guess what we'll do is we'll take these out, and then that means that here needs to be black stone. Alright, now different question, because what I could do is make this rounded here, just to kind of, well, make this look semi-like it's supposed to be attached to this and not just make it straight lines, but do I want to do that is the question, and the answer is probably yes. Give me a second. Honestly, when will I learn that circles are not a great idea, especially for my sanity? Alright, so this is what it looks like with, well, a curve a little bit to it, as you can see just with the grass blocks broken, and I don't know actually, it doesn't look horrible, I'd say. Like it adds a little bit more character to it, because all I was gonna do was, put it from here straight into the path that goes down that way, but I don't know, maybe it looks better this way? Let me add in the tough bricks and we'll see what happens. All this grass is going to waste, by the way, so I am not going back down there to grab it. And there we go. So this is what it ends up looking like with the LD blocks actually in place, and I think that I am actually going to go ahead and keep the little curve that I have placed here, because I think it's just going to look a little bit strange if I just have like straight lines going from here connecting to the diagonal path. This one also makes it look a little bit more centered in my opinion, and I guess if we look from an above view perspective, yeah, you can kind of tell, but I don't know. I'm just going to do it like this, and I'm going to do that for all 3 areas now, so I will be back. Alright, and as per usual, that took longer than expected. But we ended up getting it done. As you can see behind me, all of the corners, well, all the corners here, there we go, have the pathway going that way, and I honestly really like how it looks. It's definitely a lot bigger than these pathways, but it's kind of hard to adjust scale when you're doing a diagonal, because if I had to, smush it in a bit, then I would have had to either bring it up 1 block, which may have worked, but I'm not too sure, or squish it in by 2 blocks diagonally, and that would have been a lot smaller than this probably. So it's hard when you're working in different like angles with things, but in the end of the day, I think it looks okay. And now I'm starting to think if I really want to make like a pathway connecting it like this side of the platform to this side of the platform and then doing that for all. How many times will that be? 8 times? Oh boy, maybe not. But something now that I have like done all the paths here, I think the next thing we should probably do is work on lighting. And I also talked about doing archways around here at some point too. And I think doing both of those would add a decent amount of detail because while this does look nice in my opinion, there is a lot to be desired when it comes to decoration. It is currently a flat grassland, except for where the parts is stone. So yeah, that will probably be next on our agenda, but for now, I'm going to be done here so we can go work on some other things. So I'll meet you back at our base for the next item. Which currently that item that I want to work on is a piglin bartering system. Now, obviously, I went ahead and, started showing you guys the module last week. This time, I want to go ahead and start working on the actual, storage of the system. We're not going to be completing it this week per se, but we'll definitely get a start on how it should look. And I'm probably going to be running back and forth to try and get enough materials because I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I'm basing this off of a design by Shulkercraft, which there's no tutorials for. I'll probably link the video, but yeah, you'll be going with me on this journey on trying to figure out how they built it. So yeah, let me grab some materials and I'll meet you guys into the Nether. So, as I talked about before when I wanted to build this farm, I said that I wanted to build it in a place that I'd be able to spawn piglins in a lot easier. That is what we were going to try to do, at least for right now. So we need to find a crimson biome, or crimson forest in particular, which I'm actually not too sure where one is. Oh wait, the place we were actually building it is a crimson forest apparently? Alright, so I guess if we want to, we build it here. And for the time being, I went ahead and looked at the video that, was kind of depicting how this would look. They had something apparently way beyond my comprehension because they had a full sorting system and I just didn't understand how that would work with the items. Because you don't get like a single item from these guys. You get stacks of items, right? Especially for things like iron nuggets that I feel like would just break a sorting system. So for the time being, I'm not going to do any like actual sorting system for this. We're just going to make this as simple as possible, which means that I'm going to have, a decent set of chests in the back. And then what we'll have here is we will have hoppers, meaning I need 15 of them. And this is going to be where all the items will be held for the time being, because I've also noticed that this farm eats up about 14,000 gold per hour, so I'm probably not even going to be able to run this farm for that long. And we're going to have packed ice in the back, and then right here is where it gets a little bit weird, because what we need is an insane block here, is we're going to go ahead and put a slime block right down here, and behind that slime block, I'm going to go ahead and put a piston, or a sticky piston specifically, and that also means we're going to need a piston here. And I just realized I'm building this backwards because the thing is, what I need here is I need, okay, let me move this entirely back a block too, because it'd be better if I had this here, push them down, and we put 2 ice blocks like so. We actually need an ender chest to line up the items, so we'll put that there, along with another block right here. And I also went ahead and brought some glass, and we'll go ahead and place some glass here, just to kind of keep the items from really going everywhere. And I believe this will also help with gas, so we'll go ahead and place some on top of this too. This is not going to look pretty by any stretch, because I'm trying to figure this out as I go, but it's fine. And I also want to have this here. So this is where they will drop first, meaning that I need to go ahead and place some ice here. And now we need the important bit for this, which would be a clock running behind these guys. And we don't want them firing at the same time either, so we want this to fire, and then that to fire, and then to rotate around again. Theoretically, this should work as a timer, and then we just need a redstone torch to set it off. So this should work. Alright, definitely need to slow it down first. So if we had a tick to each of these and then have this go off. Alright, good. Now the question is, if we have blocks, coming from here, how well does this work? Like if I just did not that, something like this. Alright, well, it'll be going faster, so we'll just do that. Does this need to be a slime block? Alright, we're gonna try with the slime block because we need it to push them to the edge of the ender chest, and it's not doing that. So this needs to be moved back one, and also can't be a regular piston either. Which I guess means this needs to be that, into that, into that. Now, I'm expecting this to break, to be honest, but you know what, we'll try it anyway. Redstone dust, redstone torch. Oh, it doesn't actually. The glass isn't, you know, good, but we can fix that easily. And then if we go ahead and throw our redstone down. Alright, pulled it back. So, honestly, should have expected that. So place obsidian there, and place obsidian there, I guess. And throw down some glass. Oh, it did go in here. Alright, good, good. Now, if I throw, like, a large stack of items, how does this work? Or just a lot of items, so glass, ice, cobblestone, stone, obsidian, it all end up in here? I believe it did, actually. Alright, good. That is the first thing that we need to get done. And just for the sake of everyone's ears, I'm going to break this. And now we need something similar on all sides of this. So I think, how far is this currently? This is 10 blocks. This is also going to be 10 blocks. And actually, the end will be obsidian. This will also be obsidian so that we can have our slime block sticky piston. So out to that. And then from here, we're actually going to go ahead and put some glass on the sides here for a little bit of funnel. So we're going to go ahead and put down some droppers. I'm actually going to use some ice blocks to build here because it's just going to be easier for me. So if you remember like the spacing for the module, they were 2 blocks apart, and I want to put 5 here, so this would be the center one. There'll be 2 more over here, like so. So we'll need all of these because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'll be something like that, and now we need to mirror it over on the other side with also taking these stone bricks out because I just realized it's going to mess the slime block up. And there we go. There's the droppers on both sides, and you may have noticed that I also added these glass blocks. This is just to stop the items from going anywhere but where they're supposed to be. Hopefully that does, you know, just to make sure. I'm going to add some more obsidian blocks around here because knowing my luck, they would get pushed into a place they're not supposed to be, and I do not want that. And then I guess for the last thing that I can do, there we go. I went ahead and put some hoppers up top just to kind of show you guys how this would work, similar to the module shown in the last week. And that is basically, think of these droppers as where the chests were for the piglins last time. These are the same hoppers that they were standing on. So there'll be carpets, and then up top you'll have all the whole design that it takes to flood the gold down. And yeah, this will kind of be how the collection system works. We'll have some redstone connected to these, constantly firing. These pistons will be on a timer clock like these down here. The items will get pushed from this block into this ice path that gets pushed down to here, and then from here it gets pushed into these hoppers, which I'm definitely, if I end up running these for long extended periods of time, then I'm gonna need more than just these double chests. But for the time being, I'm not expecting to run these for more than an hour, especially not even probably half an hour. So yeah, no, it will definitely be sufficient, I believe, to just have it be like this. I also need to start thinking about gas proofing this. I don't know what could be used as a gas spawn block at the moment, so that's also a concern, but we'll worry about that later. But yeah, this is the collection system. Next we'll probably be putting in the individual modules for the piglins, getting the piglins in. Then the step after that will be the actual redstone, and then the feeding system for feeding in gold, because I don't want to have to like manually put in gold around here, or for that matter also have to hit multiple buttons to have this activate. So yeah, it's going to be a slightly long project, but for right now, that's a future me problem. We're going to head back and work on something else. I'll meet you guys at our base. And finally, what I want to work on is actually 2 things, and both of them have to do with the same idea, and that is, which the first tunnel I want to work on is this one, because if you remember from last week, I had said that I was thinking about pushing this back by 1 unit because of the fact of, well, we had this little issue last week when I had made this wall, and I wanted to see if pushing it back 1 would, you know, make a a good difference. So I'm going to push it back and we'll see how it looks. All right, and now let's move it back. It's time to peel away all the dirt and stone from it. And I would say this is definitely an improvement from how it was earlier, because this is a little bit more open. We definitely can terraform this a slight bit more, but where it stands now, I think it looks good. And this also could be terraformed, but I'm kind of waiting on that because I said I wanted to put a building here at some point. So yeah, that's gonna have to wait. But I think honestly, it does look pretty nice. However, I've also realized that I should probably go ahead and detail this really quick before I forget that it exists. Still not sure what I want to do for this, because like, I don't know about you guys, it looks way too smooth for it being cut off right here, but I also can't go further this way, so I guess I'll have to figure that out at some point. But that is for another point as usual, because now we're gonna head over into a different place, more so a different world, to work on the Nether tunnel. You'll understand what I mean when we get there. And here we are. It's been a while since we've actually been in this world, hasn't it? But you may recognize this world as our testing world for a lot of different ideas. You have storage system, the water wheel, villager hall, the jelly statues, our original base, stuff like that. The last thing I worked on, I believe, was our smelting system. So now I want to work on is a modular design for our nether highways, because it's been a bit since I've even talked about it, and with the amount of villagers we've been moving, if I can get them all into like boats and move them over at the same time, it'd probably be faster. So that's what we're working on. And the first thing that's going to start with that is a path of ice. Now, I'm going to be using blue ice because blue ice is the fastest mode of transportation when it comes to regular boats. It's obviously not going to show with this small of a strip, but it is, trust me. And this is going to kind of be the baseline for where our tunnel is going to be, is just a strip of ice. And then I need to figure out a slab type that I want to have go down here, because we can't have these be full blocks, because we don't want the boat to get slowed down by them, and we also don't want anything spawning on them either. Not to mention, I'm going to want to have rails on top of this for minecart transportation, which I just realized this means this needs to be up one block in the nether, I believe. Can redstone pass through ice blocks? I'm not entirely sure, actually. Oh, we're about to find out. Alright, and the torch goes there, and the rail does get powered through the ice. Good. Alright, so that was one worry. Then I want to add in, I'm gonna have just stripped spruce logs to kind of show this off at the moment, where I want to have some type of beam. This might be basalt, it could be a log, it could be a crimson wood, I'm not sure. And we're going to want to have the ceiling be high enough to the point where we can just run through this and jump no matter what as well. So that's going to have to be some slabs and stairs. However, now with those slabs in place, we run the issue of having something spawn up here, so we can't necessarily have slabs exactly like this. I'll probably raise them by one, because we want this to be mob proof to an extent. We don't want gas spawning on top or inside. So I guess for a bit of detail, we can go ahead and put down some stairs here too, maybe? This might ruin the ability to jump. Like if I jump here, I get caught on the stair. So these can't be here, meaning that we'll want some other slabs probably. I don't think we'll get caught on these. And I actually like this idea a lot, because then if I put a trap door here, go ahead and put a crimson trap door, actually putting it here, so that we can put the frog light. And I think honestly the pearlescent frog light might be the best option for this. Yeah, something like that. And then we can simply just have it be every other block. Not every other block, but you know what I mean. It's gonna have gaps, but it'll light up less easily. And just so we have an idea of how much it lights it up, I'll keep it nighttime. These would honestly probably translate well to blackstone, if I were to guess. Because in all honesty, what I'm trying to do is I want to have this be all nether blocks, if that makes sense. To an extent, obviously I can't do that with the rails or the ice or the lighting. I technically could, but it's not too high on my priority list. I'm gonna actually go ahead and just take out the extra bit here, because this will be our modular design. It will be this long, and I'll go ahead and do what I said I was gonna do and change these with basalt pillars, because I love how they look. But I gotta be very careful that I don't turn this into just a grayscale build. So if we're talking slabs to replace the stone, this is really all we've got to work with if we're talking nether slabs. And I'm thinking probably the best one one for the job is going to be the nether brick one. It'll also be the easiest one for us to grab if I were to guess. And actually, maybe what I'll do with these magma blocks is instead of having them down there, is we'll go ahead and put them up. Now I gotta be careful what I do here, because I can't have fences here. Yeah, I could get, stuck on this and it's no longer on the blue ice that we want to keep. I did kind of like the idea of having a stained glass for the center block. Red would honestly probably be the easiest. So we can either have the full blocks or the panes, which the panes themselves lend really well to stairs if I remember correctly. But again, what type of stairs do we use? Do either crimson stairs or orb stairs look good? What if we do a mix where we alternate them? It just kind of looks like a circus, I would be honest. Something that's also probably throwing me off is these, where I should just have them be the full blocks. Does mean I will have to put slabs on these eventually, but that's fine. Actually, how does it look if I have crimson hyphae here? Okay, I don't think the stairs are gonna work, but I do kind of like this coloring. Actually, I got an idea. Give me a second. Let me just hear me out and give me a second. I'll be honest, I was thinking of alternating these two, but I really am starting to dig this more. I don't know, I've always liked the color blue over hotter colors. Here, how about this? Let me try and copy it numerous times so it's a little bit longer and we'll see how it looks. Just this part, I don't think I'm gonna keep the red one. Alright, and here is how the tunnel would look, and I actually love this. This looks cool. I don't know, because the thing is, it looks like it's all blocks you can find in the nether besides, like I said, ice, rails, frog lights, but it looks alien, and I love that. And then, like I said, you could also be able to see outside. My only concerns, well, there are a few concerns here actually, is just the materials this is going to take. So here is how this is kind of turning out. The rails, our issue is iron, which we're currently working on getting more iron via the piglin farm. Same with the nether bricks as well as the blackstone, and I think that's it. Basalt, you can technically make a farm for. It's not ever a pretty farm, but you can. Frog lights we already have covered, thankfully. The crimson and warped, like wood, or the stems, I think is what they're actually called. I called it hyphae earlier. That can technically be made into a farm, but that runs the issue of, I talked about before, the TNT dupers, which still haven't made a choice on that. And then we also have the ice blocks, which, because it's blue ice, this means that this is 81 ice stacked into a block. By the way, just this length alone is 4,200 blocks. So this is going to be very, very material intensive. So we definitely have our work cut out for us now if I build it like this, which I really want to because I love the design. And I don't think that any unwanted mobs can actually spawn on here now. So, and if they can, then we have an issue. Hey, buddy. But otherwise, I love this design. So I think this is what we'll actually go with. But sadly, that's going to have to wait until next time because we are actually out of time for this week. But we did actually get to everything on our list that I wanted to, because we went ahead, obviously, put more masons into the villager hall, or at least swap them out. Then we went ahead and added more pathing to the Jellie statue. Then we started our collection system on the piglin bartering system, which, if you couldn't tell, that's going to be a very important thing to have in the upcoming weeks if I go ahead and build this. Then, of course, we went ahead and took out part of the tunnel at our base, made it look a little bit nicer where we added the wall last week. Of course, we didn't work on the buildings that I had talked about, but I still don't really have much of an idea for that. I do want to put one up near the corner of the village where the first ledge was made, but we'll see when I get to that. And then, of course, we now have an idea for what I want to have for our nether tunnels, which this I am actually looking very forward to. So all in all, I'd say it's a pretty good week. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. I thank you all for watching. You all take care, have a great week, and I will see you guys hopefully in the next one. Alright, bye-bye.